From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
We are in alert mode tonight as temperatures tumble and snow moves in. I'm Alyssa Donovan. For the very latest on what you can expect to start your Sunday, let's check in with meteorologist Kyle Mounts.
Yeah, and Alyssa, things have turned a little wintry again out there with some snow moving through the area, and just behind that, some much colder air. Let's look at the snow, though, and we can see some moderate snow pockets here as we work our way through portions of Hamilton County, through Madison County, and even around the Muncie area. In through Indianapolis, we get a little break in the activity. We've got some snow showers out there, but so far just about a dusting. Then it kind of picks up in intensity a little bit as we work our way toward Bloomfield and the Spencer area. This is a pretty narrow band of snow, and it's going to continue to move out of the area pretty quickly by about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So as far as additional snow accumulation, most areas going to be a ½ inch or less. Really, the bigger concern is going to be the cold. Our temperature now 18 in Indy, 16 in Lafayette as the nose of that frigid air is coming in. Look at those numbers, below 0 off to the north and west. And as we go into tomorrow morning, we'll have wind chills approaching -10. We'll talk about that wind chill advisory in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Kyle. And when temperatures are as cold as they are tonight, you hear Kyle, Kevin, Todd, or myself say you'll need to bundle up before you go out. Tonight, WRTV's Dementia shows us the reality of what happens if you don't layer up.
Frostbite is very nasty, and some of that can cause some severe permanent damage long term.
It's also a reality during what experts say is an unusually long stretch of frigid temperatures.
Those are our most vulnerable groups, our kids and our seniors.
Burgersville Deputy Fire Chief Michael Pruitt asked those that must venture out in these dangerous temperatures to layer up. That means hat, gloves, wool socks, boots, scarves, and a thick jacket.
Why is it important to make sure things are dry?
So if we go back out into that cold weather, the extreme cold, and it's wet, it's going to freeze. And then your skin tissue is going to freeze. And then we're going to run the risk of not only frostbite, but hypothermia.
It seems everyone always tells us during these really cold temperatures to bundle up. Why is it so important? We're going to figure it out to see where heat stays in and also is lost.
Right now, you've trapped all your heat inside. You're not giving off a lot. We know you're losing some heat around your eyes and in your legs. So, and I know that because we used the thermal imaging camera.
And when I took off a glove,
all the heat that you had retained in your hands is now going to be gone. And now you're going to start running the risk of frost nip, frostbite.
Same went for when I removed one of 2 jackets I was wearing.
I'm seeing more white to where you're not getting the type of thermal protection you were getting with the heavier coat on.
Now for Pruitt, the cold temperatures and fighting fires aren't a new combination. He's been doing this for 35 years, but it is potentially an extremely dangerous one.
Our gear will freeze.
And to show you just how quickly that can happen, I geared up.
Oh, great. Okay. Fantastic.
And went back outside again to simulate what it's like for the men and women fighting fires in the cold.
And immediately when we're in these low temperatures, our gear starts freezing and it gets really hard to move around. And so the quicker we can get our folks done with their work and into a warmer environment, get them in fresh gear, the safer they're going to be.
Just 5 minutes outside in the shade during 20-degree weather and my gear froze up. The ground underneath my boots did too.
It's starting to stiffen up. I can see the ice.
Yes.
Pruitt says it's almost instantaneous when the thermometer hovers around 0. That's why they are constantly changing equipment that can fail during these temperatures and calling backup if needed.
In the extreme heat of the summer, we're calling for extra help. In the extreme cold, we're calling for extra help.
Takeaways for Hoosiers heading into this long stretch of frigid temperatures: prepare and check on your neighbors. Limit your time outdoors, but if you do venture outside, bundle up and seek immediate medical attention if you suspect frostbite or hypothermia.
Just give us a call. That's why we are here. You pay tax money for us to come out and look and assess medical emergencies. So we want you to do that. We'd rather you do that than have a medical emergency when it's too late.
Working for you, Nikki Dementri, WRTV.
Carbon monoxide poisoning is also a concern during this time, which is one of the reasons Pruitt is urging Hoosiers to avoid using gas stoves for warmth. While burns, smoke inhalation, and carbon monoxide poisoning are common issues that bring people to the emergency room, Eskenazi Hospital ER Chief Dr. Tyler Stepsis treats frostbite the most. Dr. Stepsis encourages Hoosiers to stay inside and stay warm in order to lessen the chances of developing frostbite. Stepsis says frostbite usually happens on exposed skin like your face, ears, and fingers. For those that must go outside, he suggests taking breaks to head back indoors to warm up and to change any wet articles of clothing. Some signs to look out for: lingering numbness, heaviness, redness, darkening of skin, and blistering.
It's one of those things where frostbite can happen to anybody. It doesn't happen to certain people and not to others. So it's just paying attention to your environment and making sure that you try not to be a hero and brave the temperatures just because you think you can.
And despite the fear some may have of going to the ER during the pandemic, the doctor assures all precautions are taken to make sure it's not only a clean environment, but also a safe one. And tonight, communities are opening warming centers to help those without heat get out of the cold. In Shelbyville, there's a Salvation Army warming center at 126 East Washington Street. The shelter opened at 8 this morning. It'll remain open 24 hours a day through Tuesday, February 16th. Pre-registration and a negative COVID-19 test are required. In Madison County, an overnight warming center is opening at the Christian Center at 603 Main Street in Anderson. This shelter will be open from 5 p.m. until 9 a.m. every night until February 12th. An additional center will open during the day from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. at the Salvation Army on Meridian Street in Anderson. Here in Marion County, a warming center opened tonight at Municipal Gardens on Lafayette Road. Indianapolis officials say if you need assistance during the cold snap, to call 211. And 6 in 10 people living with dementia will wander. And during any period of dangerously cold temperatures, wandering is a huge concern for caregivers of those with dementia or Alzheimer's. Laura Forbes of the Alzheimer's Association of Greater Indiana says make a plan and be prepared. That means keeping a list of people who could help and know a list of places where a person would wander to. It's also recommended that you take a photo of your loved one daily in case it needs to be provided to the police. There are some warning signs loved ones may give before wandering that caregivers and neighbors should be aware of. Restlessness, forgetfulness of familiar places, and asking where family and friends may be are just 3 of several warning signs ahead of the cold streak.
Adding bolts to doors, either very high or low, kind of out of the line of sight, or disguising the door, and putting some bells, alarms on doors and windows, and that way you can be alerted if they've been opened and they really shouldn't have been. And then some steps are even simpler than that, just removing the person's shoes or a purse from near the door. That can be kind of a trigger to them to make them think that they need to go outside. So kind of storing those away. And of course, keeping keys away.
Forbes says to prevent this behavior, continue daily routines, plan activities during times a person may wander as a distraction, and make sure all basic needs are met. In the event a loved one does wander, Forbes urges families and neighbors to call 911 and spend no more than 15 minutes searching for that person. In addition to checking on your neighbors, it's also important to make sure your home is ready for the cold. If you have sinks that are on exterior walls, experts say you should leave a small trickle of water running and cabinet doors open. That way heat can get to the pipes. Experts at Benjamin Franklin Plumbing say to make sure your home stays warm, keep your garage door down and your crawl space vents open. If your pipes do freeze, the pros say you can try to use a space heater to thaw them, but you need to be cautious.
Just be careful where you're putting the heater if you're, around a wall, insulation, things like that. But if you're not sure, the best thing to do, if you can turn your main water valve off if it's not froze, just to be safe. Because the problem is if somebody doesn't get out there quick enough, or we don't get out there quick enough, and those pipes thaw, that's when they can the pipes can bust. So if you know where your main shutoff valve is in the house, that's a good thing. Or if you're not sure, definitely call us as soon as possible so we can get out there for you.
If you are going to use a space heater, make sure it's away from other objects and don't leave it unattended. We have these tips posted for you on the WRTV app. As temperatures tumble, animal advocates are getting the word out to keep your pets safe. Friends of Indianapolis Dogs Outside, or FIDO, is doing outreach. Volunteers are letting dog owners know about the city's care and treatment ordinance. It says you must bring your dog inside if temperatures drop to 20 degrees or below. Violators can face a citation from the city. But FIDO says their goal is to simply educate pet owners about the dangers of cold weather. They say it is acceptable to let your dog outside briefly.
Just for very short periods, like, 10, 20 minutes, just to run around and do their business and come back in. But, we're most concerned about these dogs that live outside, and when temperatures are getting as cold as they're predicted, dogs suffer and they can literally die in these temperatures.
FIDO is offering resources like training crates, flea treatments, and other supplies. If you see a dog left outside in the frigid cold, you should report it to the Mayor's Action Center or through the Request Indy app. You can track the falling temperatures and the incoming snow on the Storm Shield app. Download it for free in your smartphone's marketplace. And some sad news to pass along tonight. Former First Lady Susan Bayh has died. In a statement, her family announced her death followed by a long battle with glioblastoma. Susan was the First Lady from 1989 until 1997, when her husband Evan was governor. The Bayh family says a memorial service will be held when health conditions allow. Susan Bayh was 61 years old. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb released a statement saying, in part, quote, "She was an extraordinary and radiant public servant, wife, mother, and friend who leaves a remarkable impact on our state and nation. I ask all Hoosiers to join us in praying and being there for the Bayh family." You can read more about Susan Bayh's legacy by opening this story on the WRTV app. And tonight, the CDC reports progress in the battle against coronavirus. After the break, why they fear that progress could be lost this weekend. Plus, the search for two missing brothers from California continues tonight. Still ahead, why their family says they're now getting threats.
And here we go into the deep freeze. By tomorrow morning, temperatures in the single digits and a few locations like Peru dropping below zero. We'll talk about how long this cold stretch is going to last. You're watching WRTV News at 11.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Tonight, health records show executions held at the federal prison in Terre Haute likely acted as coronavirus super spreaders. Federal Bureau of Prison Records show 70% of death row inmates had COVID-19 by the end of 2020. The virus also impacted guards at the prison complex. Media witnesses also reportedly became ill and likely unknowingly infected others. Records show the Bureau of Prisons never informed those attending the executions about the spreading cases of the virus. And tonight, there is some positive news in the fight against COVID-19. Cases of the virus and hospitalizations are on the decline. As ABC's Christine Sloan reports, there is concern Super Bowl parties could become super spreader events.
This Super Bowl Sunday, health experts warning about parties becoming potential super spreaders.
Let's not have the Super Bowl become the next beginning of a huge surge here in California.
Urging people to celebrate with those in their household. In Los Angeles, restaurants will turn their screens off, while officials from New Jersey to Kansas ease restrictions at restaurants and bars. 22,000 fans, about a third capacity, are expected to attend the game in Tampa, where face masks are mandatory.
Face coverings are a requirement.
As COVID-19 variants spread across the country, officials are ramping up vaccinations. The Pentagon says it plans to deploy more than 1,100 troops, made of mostly nurses and medical specialists, to help at vaccination sites.
All right, here's the Pope.
Meantime, Johnson & Johnson says it's closer to emergency authorization for its single-dose vaccine. It's stated to be 66% effective at preventing moderate illness and more powerful against severe disease, including the highly contagious South African variant.
I'm pretty confident these vaccines will hold up to the variants, but I'm deeply worried that if the variants take off and end up infecting a lot of people, we could see our hospitals strained again. So we've got to push hard on getting vaccines out, especially to high-risk people.
If authorized at an FDA hearing later this month, vaccinations could begin as soon as March 1st. Christine Sloan, ABC News, New York.
President Joe Biden is blowing all predecessors out of the water when it comes to executive actions, orders, proclamations, and memorandums. Compared to the last 4 presidents, Biden has already issued an entire term's worth of executive actions in just a few weeks. A lot of Biden's moves undo what former President Donald Trump put in place. Experts warn implementing these actions will take time. And tonight, the search for 2 brothers who mysteriously disappeared in California continues. Now their adoptive father's family is saying they've been receiving threats ever since. Trezell and Jacqueline West adopted 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Oren in 2019. The parents saying they last saw them in their backyard late December before they vanished.
I just know that they were really good parents as far as I was concerned.
The fact that people are gathering outside of our homes and making us a target is demoralizing.
Tonight, investigators are suspecting foul play, but they have not named any suspects or persons of interest. A reward from multiple parties, including the dad's family, has now increased to $120,000. State and federal law enforcement officials gathering on this Saturday to pay tribute to fallen FBI agent Laura Schwarzenberger. Agent Schwarzenberger and Special Agent Daniel Alfin were killed when serving a warrant in a crimes against children investigation Tuesday. The suspect, David Huber, also died in the gun battle, leaving 3 other FBI agents injured. FBI Director Christopher Wray said in his eulogy, Schwarzenberger, who served 16 years, was among the best the FBI ever had. The funeral for her fallen partner, Daniel Alfin, will be held Sunday at Hard Rock Stadium. And drivers in Milwaukee can't get into their cars, and now vehicles buried in snow are blocking parking spaces and roads across the city. The city issued a snow emergency requiring drivers to move their cars, but some did not follow the order. That means tow truck operators like Daniel Johnson have to dig the vehicles out and haul them away. He says some are nearly impossible to tow without damaging. Thankfully, Wisconsin is expecting some drier weather to get those cars dug out.
Well, we're not stuck in the snow, but Alyssa, those cars are driving on some snow. You're looking at I-65 there in the downtown area, and with temperatures as cold as they are now, it doesn't take much for that snow to start to accumulate. So if you're going to be out there tonight or tomorrow morning, take it slow out there on the roadways. That snow is continuing to come down and accumulate in the downtown area. As far as the temperature, it's 18 degrees right now. It feels like 7 with a northwest wind close to 10 miles per hour. So here's a look at that narrow band of snow, but it is going to be putting down some accumulations, generally about a ½ inch or less as we go through the next couple of hours here. But the temperature, what it feels like, that is going to take center stage right now. We've got a wind chill of already 2 below 0 in the Peru area. It feels like 5 in Lafayette. And a wind chill advisory goes into effect from Indianapolis to the north. That will start at 3 a.m., goes all the way to noon tomorrow. Because of this, look at those wind chills as we get to 7 a.m., ranging from about 5 below 0 to possibly -15 as we go into the morning hours, even by late morning, early afternoon. Still going to feel like about 0 to -10 across the northern portion of the state. Single digits for you around Bloomington into Bedford and the Columbus area. And as we go into the afternoon, still some areas like Lafayette going to feel like it's below 0 pretty much all day long. Temperature-wise, not much better on the thermometer there. Single digits for us through 10 a.m. We'll have sunshine to start off the day, but then those clouds will build back in through the afternoon with temperatures only in the middle teens. We could see a few flurries, maybe an isolated snow shower. Not looking at accumulations there, but then another system in this active weather pattern gets going here by Monday afternoon and evening. Looks like this one will put down some more accumulations here as we go through the second half of our Monday, but once again, it should move through here pretty quickly. As far as the models right now, generally coming in about 1 inch to 2 inches with that system, but of course I'll have an update for that tomorrow here on the news at 6 and 11. Look at that extended forecast for you, and temperatures, they are not going to be warming up anytime soon here. Those afternoon highs in the 20s for much of the week ahead. Another chance for some snow showers coming our way on Thursday, and those overnight lows, they're back in the single digits by Saturday. And Alyssa, a high next Saturday of 15. Looks like as we go into Valentine's Day, it is going to be very cold.
Ooh, looking very chilly. Thanks, Kyle. Well, more people are going to emergency rooms for mental health concerns and overdoses during the pandemic. The CDC reviewed ER visits from December 2018 to October 2020. Researchers found more than 6 million visits for mental health conditions, suicide attempts, overdoses, domestic violence, and suspected child abuse. That's based on 190 million total ER visits. The study shows opioid overdoses saw the most consistent increases through the year. Well, the big game between the Bucs and Chiefs is about 24 hours away. How the teams are preparing when the news continues at 11.
In on 3rd and 1.
Former Colts quarterback Peyton Manning is officially in Pro Football Hall of Fame. The 44-year-old was a first-round draft pick for the Colts in 1998. His career in Indy brought 2 Super Bowl rings to the Circle City. He then played for 4 years as a Denver Bronco, winning 2 more Super Bowls. Manning will be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in August. And we're about 24 hours away from Super Bowl 55 down in Tampa. ABC's Will Reeve shows us how the teams are prepping ahead of the big game.
Sunday's game is being touted by some as one of the greatest Super Bowl quarterback matchups ever. 43-year-old Tom Brady against 25-year-old Patrick Mahomes. Brady, the winner of 6 Super Bowl titles.
This is a game that's really going to challenge us. This team is a very tough team to beat.
And Mahomes, the defending Super Bowl MVP.
It's going to be a great game with 2 great teams. And if I leave everything I have on the field for my teammates at the end of the day, I'll be happy.
Of the 75,000 seats inside Raymond James Stadium, only 22,000 will be filled with fans. The NFL inviting vaccinated healthcare workers to the big game. In this age of COVID, everyone in attendance will be required to wear a mask, maintain social distancing, and will receive a PPE kit. Tickets will be digital and all food and beverage transactions will be cashless. Another 30,000 seats will be filled with fan photos, part of the NFL's Fans in the Stands cutout program that raises money for charity. There are also going to be some changes to the halftime show. This year, the stage will be in the stands rather than on the field.
So we wanted to keep that live experience, and this year we've just figured out a different way to do that.
The Weeknd teasing his performance, releasing this clip. The Kansas City Chiefs arriving in Tampa Saturday afternoon, but without Britt Reed, son of head coach Andy Reid and also a member of the coaching staff. Reed was involved in a multi-vehicle crash Thursday night that left 2 children injured, 1 critically, according to the police report. Sources tell ESPN Reed is suffering from undisclosed injuries and was not expected to travel to Tampa. The incident is still under investigation. Will Reeve, ABC News, Tampa.
Meanwhile, whichever team wins the game won't be heading to Disney World. You can blame that on the coronavirus. According to the Disney Parks blog, viewers will still see the commercial on broadcast TV just after the big game. Disney is hoping to bring back the Super Bowl parade next year. While its Florida parks are open, Anaheim is still closed because of the pandemic. Well, the Northwestern Wildcats making a Saturday afternoon visit to Mackey Arena. Purdue looking to make a comeback following Tuesday's heartbreaking loss at Maryland. After a sluggish start by the Boilermakers, freshman Jaden Ivey firing on all cylinders to give Purdue a 33-20 lead late in the half. The Wildcats would get within 1 point at the restart. A 6-0 run by Eric Hunter Jr. early in the second half gives Purdue a 9-point lead, and they never look back. Purdue wins at home 75-70. They travel to Minnesota for a Thursday game against the Golden Gophers. And temperatures will be near 0 when you wake up for your Sunday morning. Kyle breaks down how cold the rest of the 7-day forecast will be when we come back. A seventh grade class in Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania, spent a good part of their Friday building snowmen. Their classmate Bobby was recently diagnosed with B-cell lymphoma. The snowmen are part of the Think Big Snowman social media challenge. The movement donates $10 for pediatric cancer for each snowman built and posted on social media. The Think Big organization had already reached their $5,000 goal, but when they heard about the Jersey Shore students getting involved, they set a new $10,000 goal. How cool is that?
Yeah, snowmen with a purpose out there. Don't think we're going to get quite enough snow for you to build a snowman here this weekend. And really, you don't want to be outside tomorrow because the cold air is following it. But that snow across the southeast half of the state here the next couple of hours. Tomorrow morning, we will wake up to single-digit temperatures and wind chills that'll be around -10 to -15. And it is cold all next week.
Ooh, chilly, chilly. Thanks, Kyle. And thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Join us tomorrow at 6. Have a good night.